Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to sunny Pulborough in West Sussex. Well, nearly sunny. It's not bad. It's quite warm. It's dry. That's all we can say. Very pleased to see a number of you around today. And you will have seen that what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making some pens. There'll be a wooden one, somewhat like that, which will be in U burr. And if we get time, which we should do, there'll be an acrylic one, which is not going to be that colour at all. It's going to be the green bit that I showed on the photograph. I had an experiment with my new bits carbide tools when I was doing a little experiment for this, and I was chomping away happily on the acrylic pen blank, and had a slight accident. It's not good. So anyway, that became a key ring, nice and easily, and I shan't be using carbide today. Apart from that, everything's fine. Let me bring Keith in, say hello to him as well, which is always a good thing to do.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Andy's Live. I know what he's going to do. He's going to dump me in the background, which is fine. You don't want to know what I'm doing.
No, certainly not. Good. Okay. Right. Just that one. I got it. Right.
Got it first time.
A very quick chat about design. I know there are numerous ways of making pens and numerous designs that you can use. We're obviously going to be making what I favour today because I'm making it. So that's fair dues. And I do like to have a nice slim pen. I don't like the bulbous ones like a fat lady. Other people do, and that's absolutely fine by me. They can do what they like, but this is what I prefer to do. There are risks attached to this because the acrylic there, or the timber on the timber ones, is very, very thin. You're probably less than a millimetre there. I would think it was a 7mm tube, isn't it? And I could measure that, but I'm not going to. So that's what we're going to be doing. I do have a little design feature that I put on some of mine, which you may have spotted on the photograph. I have a friend who is getting quite badly arthritic in her hands, and I've had another person also come to me and ask about a pen that they could use. So I tend to introduce that little lump there because it stops the pen, or stops their fingers sliding down the pen when they can't grip it very hard. And she said it was absolutely wonderful. In fact, she bought another pen on the strength of that. So I shall probably do that on the U one, I think, because I'm a bit short of the wooden ones. But then we'll get to that later when we start doing the design. So we'll go through. If I get myself set up, I can't get names right. If Keith would like to tell me who's in.
I can certainly do that. Right, heading the list today is Colin, Wood Wizardry by Colin, closely followed by Adam. And apparently you're in here watching yourself as well. Going down the list, a little bit of banter between the guys. I'm in. Seth from Brickhouse is in. Brian at Heartwood. Twisted Pete's in. Adam's in again. Bob Nye. Surprising how long this list is because I'm going down the chat rather than using the participants. Di is in. Hello, Di. Robert at Hodgepodge. He's sitting there with a beaver on his shoulder watching. Eric Winkler's in. Robert Dolman's in. Eric Winkler, he just mentioned him. Sid's Repurpose in. That's the first of the Aussies in, I believe. And, they're all chatting to each other. Andrew at Wivey's Woodshed. Robert Dolman. God, the list has got long. Mark's in. Mark the gentleman, he's in. I think as quick as I'm scrolling down, they're filling at the bottom. Rob CP's in. Rob Hodge, Sid. Oh dear. Tony Smith. Steve Scott. Oh, I've got to the bottom. Peter Cochrane's joined at the bottom. Good afternoon to you all. Welcome to Andy's Live. I'll let Andy take back over.
Thank you. Yes, I was just muting myself on YouTube. Right.
Well,
so
you better cover the keyboard. You know what people moan at you.
You're absolutely right. I will do that right now. Although it's not so bad with these, it doesn't fly around so much.
Quite, no. Robbo's here. Hello, Robbo.
Hello, Robbo. Pleased
Pens
to see
and carbides. You'll be welcome to hear, Robbo, that there will be no carbides. It's just pens.
Nope. Don't like carbides. I've decided. I bought some to try them because I thought I should. Didn't like it, so I shall do it again.
Bungham's in as well. I'm not sure whether I mentioned him, but
right.
We have a question from Colin to start with. It says, well, two sets of pen jaws. Is it easier using two sets?
Oh, what, in the one chuck, you mean?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah, I think so. It centers it in both directions. Doesn't always grip very tightly in one direction because it's not always exactly square, but it just, I don't know, just feels right. So I would always do that. The other way, you've got to poke the corner into the holes in the jaws. Doesn't matter much either way. So.
And if I can add that you don't specifically need long jaws, I just open up the four jaw that I've got on, and it would generally squeeze in the middle of whatever set of jaws you've got on, and you can soon align the centre. Doesn't matter whether it's 100%, but I think Andy's going to say drill, mark the middle, and drill from the middle out to the end in each case. Is my preference anyway. But if you mark the middle of the wood, you cut it yet?
Yeah, it's all cut. Yeah.
Yeah. I always mark the middle so I know which bit goes to which.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, I've done that. Sorry, I'm with you.
Yeah, and that's the end I drill from.
You probably
just see the pencil marks.
See the two pencil marks there.
Yeah.
And they should be on this one. I've got it in the wrong way around, but hey, it's close. I will do what you say, oh master.
Well, you can tie it up.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah. I did a lot of pens, and I got in a complete muddle with the bits of timber, so I completely abandoned trying to get anything to match, and it became a bad habit. Right, so the only thing I would say about this is the 7mm bit will, given half a chance, will bite into the timber and go crooked. It really likes doing that. So introduce it to the timber, say drill bit, timber, timber, drill bit. Introduced very, very gently. Just going nice and slowly, and you can see that's not wobbling, not significantly anyway. It'd be better if I'd lock that down, really.
Darren's joined us from down under as well.
Oh, good, right.
We got 3 in today at the moment.
That's all the way through.
It looks like Lula's in as well.
Hello, Lucy.
And no Robin with me, just me, she's saying.
All right, okay.
Someone's got to earn the pennies, Lucy.
He'll be at work, yeah.
Yeah. Chris Dodds is in, so that's the 4th down under one we've got, and your good lady's just joined as well.
I think she's going out later, so she won't be here all the time. But yeah, Keith's point about marking the timber before you cut it in half is a very good point, because if you want to get to the grain to match, then that's the best way of doing it. This one, actually, the grain is so similar all the way along, or dissimilar, whatever it is, that it's not quite so critical. It's an interesting piece of timber, and I may regret using it because I'm going so thin with it. It may object to it, but we'll see.
Lucy's saying she's on leave. She should be in France. Far better off over here, Lucy.
Not much chance of that at the moment, no.
No. David Nichols joined us.
Hello, David.
David's from over the pond, isn't he, if I remember right?
You know, I can't remember. I think you're probably right. So setting the lathe up again, I'm going to do all of these at this point. Both pens.
Lawrence Bagasia's in.
Hello, Lawrence.
Can I just add to Andy's demo today that I do quite a few pens, and I do the two-piece ones the same as what this is, and I used to use the long drill bits that Andy's got in, and I found they used to wander and wobble around a bit. I now use just a normal standard 7mm Dormer piece, really sharpened well, and I get very little wobble, and shaking it like that first does to start up.
Yes, that's right. You do tend to. If you let it sit, just touching the material, it usually gets over it.
It centers itself, yeah.
And it doesn't actually matter, because it's all going to be based on where the hole is. You're going to take away all the outside, and we're going to square the end up. That's the next thing to do, is to square the end. Oh no, it's not. It's gluing the tube in, and then we'll square the end up. So that actually doesn't matter, but it's nicer if it doesn't do it. Right, that's those drilled. Over to the little bench, and we'll glue the tubes in. Try and show you everything if I can.
Terry's in, TJ.
Hello, Terry. I will be using a skew, honest. Right, so bit of super glue. I normally would allow super glue to sit. Sorry, super glue. When I'm gluing acrylic, I would allow it to sit for a while.
Just to Paul's in as well, so he's just informed me.
Let it sit.
Adam's got a not so much a question, but a question, if you know what I mean. What is the story behind all of the seemingly random bit sizes? 7mm is an attempt to prevent any bit sizes. 7? No, I didn't. It's a question mark. Is it an attempt to prevent copying kits? As far as I can work out, Adam, there's so many kits out there, and it's nearly all down to the Chinese as to what size they want to make the tubes, and it's all down to tube sizes as to what holes you drill in. Some of the fountain pens are a lot bigger drill bit needed because you've got a far bigger interior to the pen itself. So
that's right. That's right.
I honestly don't know.
Most of the Slimline ones tend to be 7mm. I've had a couple of different makes, and they've been 7mm. The fountain pens, yes, I agree. They can be all sorts of stuff. They're quite big, some of them, about 12mm.
Some of those are really rogue sizes, and you get two sizes for the same bit.
Oh yes, absolutely. You have to drill in two different sizes. Yeah,
top and bottom. I can't read the size on that, but I've got a pair of drill bits here for some fountain pens, and I've got two drill bits, one to do the bottom, one to do the top.
That's right. Yeah, I can't remember what the sizes were, and I know I've put labels on my drill bits because as Ben pointed out last week, I like labeling things, and I thought I'm never going to be able to read that after a little while. And it's in inches, so it's something 64ths on that one. This super glue in here in the timber will go off fairly quickly because it soaks in. The ones in the acrylic doesn't soak in. In fact, that's gone now. That's got it. So that'll take a little bit longer. Then when you drill it, the brass tube comes out. That's not a good idea. So just give it time, or use a different glue. I'm using super glue because it goes off quickly. For demo purposes, I thought I ought to do the whole thing. not just bits of it.
I think, Adam, once you've got the drill bits, a lot of them are interchangeable, but it is the bushings that are the critical piece for two-part pens.
Got a great big bag full of them.
Yeah,
but the ones I've got on the mandrel at the moment, which I should be putting onto the lathe very shortly. In fact, I'll do that now. They are pretty good. They well, I decided not to work it on. Oh, there it is. What was I saying? Oh, yes, they seem to be fairly universal.
Douglas, yes, I have, and it was a conversation that Andy and I had prior to him starting, that I've had CA let go in wood, so I use a foaming glue for the wood only, and I've never had one let go since. But Andy wanted to do it all in the day and all in the demo, and the CA glues take a bit of time to fully cure, at least half an hour to fully cure. It can cure on the ends, but not in the centre.
That's right. It should hold well enough, and the acrylic are going to have a little while to sit over there. Excuse me. This mandrel, let's talk about that. This was the original mandrel that I had with a screw nut on the end here. You put your...
Can you just drop the camera a fraction because we can't see the nut?
Which one are we on? That one?
No, the nut driving it. That's better.
Right.
That's it.
Yep. Sorry, yeah, the nut just screws on the end there. I think you meant the nut who was doing the work, but...
Oh, that as well. Tommy's workshop's in. Hi, Tommy.
Hello, Tommy. I am just going to put my table, as somebody calls it, because I'm bound to drop something. That's it. Right. So, as I was saying, you put your pieces of material on there, which I should do with those two that I've just glued up. No, I won't. I'm not ready for that yet. But they will. You can see the spaces of the bushes are there. That will go on there. Another couple in the middle. The other one on there. And then some on this end. And then on the original idea was that you then wound this up. And that held it. You then bring your center up, which I haven't even got in there and I'm not going to put in there. But you bring your normal center up, and it would fit in the end there and hold it. The problem with that is that you can just about see that, can't you?
Yep.
That's better.
We can see. Yep.
The problem with that is it's putting pressure onto the mandrel, not onto the pieces of material. So they came up with a better idea. It is a better idea too, very much better. Leave that off.
So Sidley61 and Stace have joined us.
Hello there.
Got to keep that with this, otherwise we won't say hello to you.
That's right. So we pop that into the tailstock. That fits over there, and you can turn a single one, you can turn a small one if you're just doing a little keyring or something. This just disappears through the tailstock. So that is much better, and it's putting the pressure onto the brass tubes that are in the middle of the blank. So I think you can see that is a much better idea. So we don't use the brass nut. Right. Next bit is to square off the ends now, and we'll do that. I have a camera set up for it. Just there. Yep. It flickers a bit, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. I use a little sled, little wooden piece, just to hold it in here. I find it easier to keep it accurate and not have it jumping around than trying to do it on the lathe. And that's where you find out if your bit of brass is not glued in Very well. That's quite. It's a nice way of doing it. And if I put that under the camera, you should be able to see. I hope. Yes, nearly. I'll find it. There it is.
The light there, we're okay. Yeah, you can see a polished brass end of the tube.
That's right. You just simply drill it until it polishes, and the bit that we use to drill it with, I have another one over here. It's where you can see it in the drill more or less, but that's all it is. It's just almost like a countersink, but it's a square countersink. It goes down through the tube, and that bit trims the end.
It's an end mill.
An end mill. That sounds posher than whatever. Another way of doing it.
No, you don't, Colin. I'll talk about that later.
Okay. The way that I was first taught to do it by Jimmy, one of the club members, was to actually use a sander. As long as you've got a fence which is accurate, and we'll set it to right angles. Excuse the noise when I turn this on, but it does dust extract. And there it is, nice and square. Brass tube at the end. That's that done. I've got rather a fine glass paper on there at the moment. It should be something a bit coarser, really. So I shall finish it off on this one, because I can.
Andrew's saying some bushes have the facility to turn between centres. All bushes have the facility to turn between centres, Andrew, which is what I was going to go on about in a bit. You don't need a mandrel. No. You can pinch it between two drive center or a drive center and a revolving center, and do it that way. A lot of the single piece pens, sometimes that's the easiest way to do it, because otherwise you need the right bushings or the mandrel. You've got the mandrel anyway. You'll have the bushings, and it's easier to see it between that and take it apart. You can reverse it from end to end so much quicker as well.
Yeah, I quite like the mandrel I've got, because you can put as many bushings on there as you like to give you room to get to things. You know, they've all got their own little advantages and disadvantages, to be honest.
And normally, once you've bought the mandrel, you've got it for life. Particularly using the compression tailstock method. If you use the old method of using the brass nut to tighten them up, you will probably go through 2 or 3 in your lifetime.
I actually totally
do bend.
I totally knackered my my tailstock centre using it on one of the. I had to get a new mandrel. It's going in there. It wore the end off the
right.
Sorry, you can't see me.
Picture then.
Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking that. What did I have? That one, I think. Yep. Yes, with that in there, and it just wore the end off the tailstock center, live center. So I was very pleased when they came up with this way of doing it, which is so much better. Right, let's load this up. That can go on there. Couple in the middle. You just need to get enough room to get your tool in.
So through loading it up, you will put the pencil marks in the middle. I don't know whether Andy checked.
No, I didn't. You're absolutely right. I've just dropped one of the bushes.
It's on the floor.
Oh, no, there it is. No, I didn't check that. You're absolutely. Oh, that one's there. And by chance, that one was right. This one isn't. That's it. There we are.
Also, if you've got long grain coloured wood, you have to do it that way to make it look right. Otherwise, you can never get it specifically right on the pen.
No, and particularly if you've got like a stripe going through it or something, you really want to try and get your grains to match.
Yeah, something like a Zebrano, you certainly do need it.
or just a bit of timber with a stripe in it. You know, it's bits of ash or anything can have it. Right, so there we are. That's all set, ready to go. Put my tool rest in there.
Don't think I've missed any questions, but if I have, just bang them in again, guys. Chat did go slightly mad.
I'm just going to use a normal spindle roughing gouge. I'm not going to use my big one. Despite the fact that I've just sharpened it, I should not be using it. It looks a bit clumsy for this. Turn the speed up, that's what I've done wrong. You can have a good turn of speed on these. They're so small, you get better results if you can turn your speed up. I'm on 2,500 at the moment. I could even go faster. I'll get the corners off.
It's a piece of yew, Douglas. It's the Pippi yew, the same as what Andy did the bowl out the other week. It's off the same tree. It's just some of the offcuts that I pen blanked up.
I thought you might recognise it.
Oh yes, there's not many like that.
No.
Darren's saying there's 37 watching you and there's only 11 likes at the moment.
Oh, they obviously don't like it, do they?
No,
That's
not
right.
yet. Yeah,
They're entitled
you, I'm always rather late on doing the thumbs up, just in case it's an absolute nightmare. But
yes, it's very often somebody's reminder that gets me to do it.
But if you like what Andy's doing, perhaps you'll hit the thumbs up somewhere along the line. If you haven't subscribed to him, please subscribe to him if you like what he's doing. And if you can hit the notification bell, give that a clang, you will get notified when Andy comes before he comes live. And generally we're doing one a week, Andy and myself each, and we're interchanging the days just to keep you guys on your feet.
I've got next week off though.
But someone's taken a week off. So it looks like I've got a busy week.
I may be back on Thursday to earworm.
Yeah.
In fact, I should be. We're leaving after breakfast on the Thursday,
right.
But I won't have time to prepare for a live.
Right. And Douglas has asked me, is there any wood that is naturally no good for pens? I would say that every wood is good for pens. Some are far better than others. It depends really what you're looking for in the way of a pen. Do you want one with a lot of character, colour, or do you want a standard bland piece of, for argument's sake, ash, which is just a straight grain, nothing? So basically you can turn any wood, providing it's not too funky.
I was just going to say, I would advise caution if it's. I had some sported beech.
Yeah,
came from Gill. You will have seen it at the club, and that was very, very punky. And it was lovely once I stabilised it, but you need a vacuum chamber and all the rest to do that.
Which pushes the price up for pen turning. So
it does. But it turned beautifully once it was stabilised. Yeah.
So steer clear of the punky woods. You can stabilise them with super glue. It's an expensive pen if you're using stabilising and super glue for a lot of it, and you're turning a lot of wood away. So Lawrence is asking me, have I heard how Scott is? I spoke with him yesterday lunchtime, afternoon, somewhere during the early afternoon. He's feeling a lot better. He's made himself a little seat in his clean room on his workshop, so he can sit out there and watch if he doesn't fall asleep. anyone that's doing a live and perhaps get involved in the conversation as well in the chat. He's hoping that he might join me Thursday night as on the chat, because I'm doing Thursday night at 7:30. So he's not doing too bad. He's getting fed up with doing nothing, and he's got to keep his leg up, so it's not as if he can stand at the lathe and do a bit of turning. So he's sort of peed off, putting it politely. But that's about all I know about him. Haven't spoken to him today. Haven't got off the computer today. It was a long Zoom meeting this morning, so we can ask him hopefully Thursday, find out how he's going. But he's signed off until the 23rd, and he's on lots of meds, so he can't even have a drink.
So very slightly convex on this. Just gives it a bit of style, a bit of character, shape.
Yes, it is, Adam. Adam's put in a question. What's all this talk about preparing for a live? Isn't that just preparing for turning? That's obviously just his method. Yeah. I just, if I'm preparing for a live, I like to make sure the tools are sharpened rather than having to sharpen them on the live, and bits and pieces like that, that I've got some abrasive hopefully ready, rather than have to go dig around and find it. And Pete Cochrane's put in balsa wood be a bad choice. Yeah, that comes under the softwood, and I'm not sure how poplar would hold up, particularly some of the fast-growing poplar.
The closer the grain, the better it's going to hold together, in broad terms. In fact, oak turns nicely, ash turns nicely. So it's not entirely true. Right, let's see if I can put a little bead in there. I'm not going to do it with the skew. I don't feel like it.
And a question for you from Adam. Have you got your lathe on the top belt, or are you running the motor hard on the middle belt?
No, I'm on the top belt. I'm now up to 2,861 revs. It wouldn't go that fast on the other belt. The fastest is 1250 on the bottom belt. So yes, it's on the very nearly as fast as it'll go. It'll go up to 3,750 if I push it all the way.
Yes, Lawrence, it is good news, and yes, he wants to get back in his workshop and actually do something. He's finding it hard sitting there doing bugger all.
It's not easy when you're not used to it.
No, he's getting fed up with himself because he can't do anything.
You have to work hard at doing nothing. It's a knack.
Yeah. The Linnykins is in, and
hello, Lynn.
with a snarky one. Good afternoon, ladies.
She doesn't have to join us.
No. But there's only Lucy in, and I don't know whether Alison's still in here. So she's there's three girls in, four girls in.
Yep, she's still there. Yep. I know I'm sanding this very fast. I should slow it down. But it takes it.
But such a small piece of timber that you're actually sanding, that you can turn a lot faster than you would if it were a bowl.
Yeah. Yes, if you look at the end of these when they're finished, there's not a lot of timber there. It's no wonder they break occasionally.
And bearing this in mind, this is you don't want to get any heat in this as well, sanding.
No. So, as quickly as I can.
And Barry's saying to Adam that he never moves his belt. His trousers keep falling down wherever he tightens it to.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well,
I've never
hopefully not. Go on.
I've never actually put this belt onto the slower speed since I've had
Yeah.
it.
Hopefully not, Scott. Chris, it was a conversation I had with Scott while he was still in hospital, when there was a mooting that he might lose a leg. That no, he could design his own, and he was quite upbeat about it as well. And I must have been reading that right, because Barry's come back and said correct.
I'm deliberately not rushing this. We've got plenty of time. There's nothing we've got to finish for.
No.
So I'm not going to rush it. We'll try and cover all aspects. But if you think of anything, I haven't covered,
bang it in, guys.
Yep, please do. Because we want to try and cover as much as we can, and we're only human. Well, nearly.
You speak for yourself.
And we miss things. It's not a long job making a pen.
It's monotonous more than anything else.
Yeah, it is if you've got a lot to make. I did a run of, I think, about 25 or something, and that was quite enough.
Mm.
In fact, I haven't done any since, because I'm still selling them.
Yeah. Yeah, the link I've just dropped in, guys, is for listening to Andy's dulcet tones on Thursday evening worming for me. So that's my live on Thursday evening.
Your bit of Paduke.
Oh, bloody phone.
Hello. Fire brigade here. That sounds horrendous.
I'm back again. Can you hear me, Andy?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah,
I'm just trying to show off me Yorkshire grip container, but I can't.
You can see it.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yep, nearly the right way up. That's better. Yorkshire grip time, anyway.
Pete Cochrane's got to go back to work. He's watching his lights change and playing with traffic. Take it easy, Pete.
Yeah, have a good afternoon.
At least he's in the sun today. And Rob CP is saying at least it would take him 6 hours to turn a pen. You can a bit more practice, Rob. You could get that down to 5.5 quite easily.
I've saved some time because I forgot to put sanding sealant on it. Hey ho.
Just double do it twice with the grit.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the microphone anyway, and then whatever it is, cut and shine or cut and polish.
Cut and polish, yeah.
Yeah, afterwards. So it's got 3 chances. So I realised as I was.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Question from Colin: how do you work out how much to charge for pens?
As much as you can get away with.
Yeah.
I do £12 for a wooden one and 15 for an acrylic one, because the blanks cost me more. But that's
it depends on the outlay that you've got.
You don't want to go any cheaper than that.
No, but if you work it out that most wooden blanks are on average £1 if they're any good. Some are a bit dearer. The kits currently Streamline are £2.50, give or take a few pence. Your time and electricity used and materials used, I know it's only going to be sort of 50p, but the time you've added that lot together, you still want to make a little bit of profit out of it, because we're not doing it for the sake of practice.
It's wear and tear on your tools and things, you know.
Yeah, we've got to keep replacing those. So I tend to charge 14 for my wooden pens, and they sell at that. Again, it depends where you're selling them. If you're selling them in an upmarket area, you can get more. If you're selling them off the street or
a
in
lot more, yeah.
farmers
village market,
markets, they're going to be a lot lower.
Yes, mine are always a village.
Shown.
Village market is where I sell mine, and I can't charge much more than I do. To be honest, I wouldn't sell anything, and it's a hobby.
It's come up on mine, Robbo, but what I can do is let me go back over to that one, and I will drop it in again. So that's the same link. Will come up in a second, Robbo. And Rob CP saying his local Axminster sell ready-made pens at 35. It's come out this time. I think it's the distance travelled, Robbo. It's fallen off going down under.
It's fountain pens. I tend to be sort of the £30 mark.
Yes, exactly. Question for you, Andy, from Douglas.
Yep.
And it's a serious one. How would you, if you needed to, take your pens apart if you put them round the wrong way?
I'm glad you asked that. I have that machine, this one, which is designed to take apart as well as put together. I've only ever had to do it once, and that was before I got that machine. So it's not something you do very often, but it will actually grip it and persuade the innards to come out, and you can reuse it afterwards. But as I say, I've only had to do it once, and the machine's very expensive, actually, I think, for what it is.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we'll come to that. We'll come to that in a minute when we start fixing them together. But we'll discuss that. But because I know what Keith was about to say, and I absolutely agree with him.
Yes, I don't have one of those. I've got a set of punches, metal punches that I can use, and I've used once or twice maybe. And the rest of the time, for putting them together, I actually use the lathe because I use the tailstock, and I have far more control on the squeeze with that than what you do on a long lever like this.
That's absolutely right. And I was just looking, I've got little blocks that I made up that fit into the tailstock and the headstock with a little, made out of mahogany, and I can't find them, of course. And they just sit in there nicely in the jaws. Or in the Morse taper, in actual fact, and do the job very well. No, I've lost them. I haven't used them for so long. But anyway, you'll see what we're talking about. But it does work very well on the lathe.
Adam, if you drop me a message, I will work out when I can do one. It'll need to be a lunchtime one. It could well be next Tuesday. That I do one, because that can drag on a bit longer if you want more of a masterclass. A masterclass in bowl turning and angles and bits and pieces. It's got to be a lunchtime one, so I'm not going to have time this Thursday to do a masterclass on the bowl that I'm turning, but I'm more than happy to go through the process again. That's what it's all about. I'm pretty sure that several of us would do it if necessary.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're here for, to teach you guys or to show you guys how we do things, so that you can practice what we're sort of saying.
Having said that, I thought the bowl that Adam was doing, was it last night? Was actually quite nice.
Some of it. Yeah. I missed the start.
No, there weren't a lot of us in there, but I thought it looked rather nice, Adam.
Can you change camera, mate, so that we can see what you're scratching?
Oh, fussy.
Oh, God's sake.
It's that one, isn't it? That one.
Right.
Happy with that?
Okay. Yeah, happier.
Basically doing the same again
because
it's very similar. The techniques are the same, and the finishing is the same these days with Yorkshire grit. I used to do this with wet and dry. Finishing
I think we all did. Yeah.
Of acrylic. You get
Robbo,
such a
just
mess.
can you change the camera? He was obviously having trouble seeing as well.
I don't know, need to get you right. Well, he's going to look a long way, I suppose. Yeah. Fair enough.
Pete, you and we can do a bowl turning masterclass because you turn slightly different to what I do. We all turn slightly different, which is what I think a lot of the guys are interested in, because they're picking up pieces from you, me, Andy, Wayne, Brian, Mark, the whole lot, and putting them all together and making it their own.
I haven't
not
just
one
realised
specific way of doing anything.
I haven't just realised that I haven't got my safety glasses on, have I?
Well, it's hardly gonna fly off and smack you on with that size woods, but
they cost me a ruddy
watching. Yeah,
they cost me a ruddy fortune. I mean, I've got to use them.
Yeah.
300 quid or something they were.
Cool. And Tommy's workshops come back in the same. That's because there's so many different ways of turning and shapes and everything. Follow several of them, Adam, and pick the bits that work for you. The same with you, Douglas. It's always awkward when people say, can you do a master class? I can do a class that is masterful to me, the same as Andy could do quite easily, but you might not be able to work one of the techniques that we use.
That's right. Yep. I was teaching an 86-year-old the other day, and he found things that I found second nature, he actually found quite difficult. And that is the way we're built, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
you and I have got a bit sticking out the front, haven't we? Because the belt won't hold it in quite so tight.
That's right, absolutely. I do try my best, but
yeah. Yes, and Robert Hodge is saying exactly the same. You ask 10 wood turners how to do something, and you get 12 answers.
Oh, at least 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pete's come back quite right. Every turner has a few styles of approach to a different blang, which are really subset of what they've learned. Yeah, subject of what they've learned. Flicks is in. Welcome, Flick.
If I'm really truthful, I don't see the appeal in working with acrylics.
No, it's so blooming messy, isn't it?
It does. It makes a very nice pen, which is why I do it. But I don't like it at all. All this stuff cluttering up your workspace, and then it sticks to everything, doesn't it? You know, you're hoovering it off, and it's all up the side of the lathe and everywhere, every crack and crevice, so to speak.
I see is in. If you make your own blanks, what sort of size should they be to not waste material? The only way you can determine that, Di, is to know what pen kits you're going to be making. If you're doing the same as what Andy is here on Slimlines, the drill is 7mm. So you could get away with a 10mm square casting.
Yes, a little bit on the snug side probably, but yes, you could.
Yeah, but I drew a Corian for I drew a 10mm Corian with a 7mm bit. You just need to take your time and not race it.
I was going to say that one's about the size that I would think, and that's actually 11 mil. So yes, it's not far wrong, is it? As a minimum. Wouldn't want to go too much smaller than that because you've got no room for error then.
No, but that's then down to tool control. So 10 mil would probably be the minimum size to go for. If you can cast 12 mil and you're doing slimlines, that's a far better size. If you're doing streamlines, which is the next size up from slimlines, which gives you a fatter waistband, the waistband on these, I believe, is 9 mil, just over, and I believe it is 11 and a half on the streamline, so you probably need to cast something at 15 mil. So you need to buy your kit almost first, or know what size the kits are.
Yes, absolutely.
Or you can make that. If you're doing them in wood, I mean, I generally cut mine to 18 or 20 mil square.
Most of the ones you buy are about 25, aren't they? But which is wasteful.
Which is a lot of waste. The U one that Andy done earlier on, that was probably 18 or 20 mil square, and when you consider you're turning 2/3 of that away, or at least half of it away, it's a lot of waste. Benjamin's in. Nice to see you're all here early. No, it's not so much us here early, Ben. It's you're a bit lax and late.
Bit tardy.
Yeah. And Chris Dodds is saying he always gets static shocks from turning acrylic.
Yeah, I haven't done, but
you can do if you're over exuberant with the bevel. A lot of bevel rubbing, but you don't want to be rubbing it too hard on acrylics anyway and warm it up.
No, because they do melt very easily.
They soften up.
I remember I made a pair of droplet earrings from the offcut from a pen, and it turned almost to 90 degrees when I was sanding it. I got a bit carried away, or I should have done one or the other.
And I think the other thing is beginners or those that haven't turned a pen tend to turn it a lot heavier than, or leave it a lot heavier turn than what they need to, and then try and sand it.
Yes.
Of course, the sanding generates as much, if not more, heat than the tool will.
Treat it a bit like you, minimise the sanding.
Yep.
And it works quite well. Which is why I finish off with a skew. Try and get a reasonable finish.
A question from Ben, from Andrew, was there a queue at McDonald's?
Important stuff.
Yeah.
That's better. A little bit of shape to it. Just a little bit.
Apparently it's toast and Marmite today for Ben.
I had toast, Marmite and peanut butter for me.
Marmite's one thing I can't stand.
Oh really? I love it. Have it on everything.
Sue loves it, but I don't.
No, Alison can't stand it at all. I think that will stand up now.
Just coming up to 55 minutes, Andy.
Oh, it's not bad because I've turned 2 pens, more or less.
The 36 watching and 24 thumbs up. So
excellent. Oh, it's warm. The sun's come out now, and it really does. It radiates from the roof in this place, and God, it gets hot.
yeah.
Right, here we go then. Quick sand up, and it won't be a long process because of what we were just saying. The only thing I would say, just as a little tip, if you're making a pen from a light coloured holly or something light coloured timber, do be very careful when you're sanding to try not to go over these bushings, because it will put a black mark on.
And the other thing is to just stop slightly shy of the bushings so that you don't sand them, because otherwise you'll find in 100 pens time that it's too thin, where you've sanded the bushings away.
I've got several sets of them, so I should just throw them away when they get like that. But no, you're absolutely right. They're cheap enough.
Oh yeah, but you don't want to keep buying them to throw them away, do you? Particularly?
No. But I've done several hundred pens on these. So they don't owe me anything.
No. So
I think they are just.
Go on.
I think they are just a fraction under.
Douglas is asking you, how would you repair a chip in the end of an almost finished pen, please?
I'd throw it away and start again.
It would be a key ring.
Yes, it will become a key ring.
Yeah, and clean the tube off and reuse the tube.
Oh yeah, yep.
Unless it's the top section and it's the very top of the clip, you can take off about 2 or maybe 3 mil, but you can't take anything off the bottom section because of the workings.
Yes, you can shorten the top one. Yeah.
You can shorten it a fraction.
And you can shorten the bottom one an absolute fraction.
Yeah, it's only a minimum.
You don't have to push the screw bit in as far as the mark. In fact, I'll be showing you that later, because I never do anyway. I put it in so far and test it. So I'll show you that in a minute. When we start putting these together. Cool, that's got a bit warm. Oh, naughty. Naughty.
So to stop a chip, you would generally turn from the center to the ends.
Yep,
not
very
from
sharp.
the end in.
Very sharp tools.
You can still get a chip doing that on acrylic. You can also get that on some of the more cross-grained woods as well. So a sharp tool and not too much pressure is the answer to that.
You can actually work the other way as well, if that's going to be more convenient, by using the bushings to rest the bevel against.
Yep.
And you can then introduce the cutting edge to the end of the blank.
But you can't take too big a cut, though.
No, absolutely. It's very much a finishing bit.
It's a finishing cut in most instances, yeah.
To get it to the right diameter, basically.
So
no, you certainly don't want to push your luck.
Looking at the chat, it looks like Twisted Pete's done a 13-minute wand just before you came live. And he was standing in the wrong place for most of it because of his. He's got this boot on, hasn't he?
Oh, he hasn't he? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right, I should just mop myself down again. Oh.
Yeah, don't know who suggested the wand challenge, but I haven't turned any this week. But I put some pictures up of some that I did last week.
I've done the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, before I even knew anything about this wand challenge. But it's quite a good.
I think it was Brian.
Idea, yeah, quite a good practice piece because you
It is.
need to turn it thinnish.
Yep.
And you also
And
need to turn it longish.
I was going to say
Which
thin
are
and
the
long.
two? Yeah, which are the two sort of no-nos for wood turning?
But they're two enemies, aren't they? Really? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, it's a nice one. I mean, I made one some time ago that my darling grandson decided was a sword.
Mhm.
Inevitably,
Yep.
I shan't bother with sanding sealant on acrylic. Would serve no useful purpose.
What, like it didn't on the U?
Like it didn't on the U. That's right. Absolutely, you're not supposed to spot that.
There you go.
I'm really surprised how easy this Yorkshire grit is to finish acrylic. I hadn't done it until I tried that blue one. That was the first, the one that I made a key ring out of. That was the first time I'd used a Yorkshire grit on acrylic because I haven't done it for ages, and I was very impressed.
And Colin's saying he think it was Steve's live on Sunday lunchtime that threw down the challenge of the or threw down the gauntlet on.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
On wands.
Because he was the first.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was in the workshop down at the museum all day. And it's one that I've got on the list to watch at a later date, but it's been rather manic.
That's coming up nicely. Right, we'll whack a bit of microfine.
And Chris Dodds is saying it was Brian, the Scottish Irishman.
Yeah. I thought it was Brian had something to do with it. They were all blaming him anyway.
Right.
I know that doesn't always mean anything, but...
and Robbo's put in there Brian was the instigator.
Yeah. Because Robbo's doing one on sometime later this week, isn't it? The 18th or something.
Now, Brian's just put in there 1 week was just for fun to try and get people to practice with their skews. It is not a challenge at all. Well, it's a challenge for a lot of people to use a skew, Brian.
Yeah,
so it is a sort of a challenge, but it is also a fun thing.
It's a perfect exercise for using a skew. It really is. So very well thought up. Right, that's that. Now we get this one. Oh dear.
And Douglas is saying he's turned about 170 pens, but there is always more to learn.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
It's like all turning, isn't it? I'm going to have to open that door.
If you've only turned 170, I can probably say I've turned 1,700, and nearly all of those have been donated to the veterans. And I've got about 150 here to go now, which will be 200 when I put the last lot together.
If there's too much light coming in that door, I'll shut it. But
can't see the light. Not on this camera. There's a body in the way.
All right. And my muffles for the mic haven't come yet, so I can't even have my fan on.
And it looks like Robbo's doing a live at 11 a.m. UK time.
That's right. I know. I saw it on the 18th. Is it?
Well, I'm guessing it's this coming Sunday, which I will not see again until later. Because I again booked the workshop to demonstrate, and Alison's off, so she's saying have a good day, and she'll catch up with you later, mate.
Right, so next. The next bit is to actually buff them a little bit, just to get them really shiny, using the mop system. I have a couple of bits of dowel that I turned down so that I can hold them while I'm buffing them.
This is the only time you need the brass nut on the end.
Yes, so you don't lose those. Yes, absolutely.
I think that's a no-brainer, Rob. CP. Robbo is going to try and turn a wand faster than you. But the challenge is certainly there for him.
Right, so that's what I need.
But speed isn't the essence, Rob, as we keep telling you. Just keep going, you'll get faster.
Yep.
As you get more confident.
Oh, you do.
Build
There's
your
no
own
doubt
confidence
about it.
up. Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. You don't have to think about what you're doing so much, and that makes a big difference. I'm only going to buff with the carnauba on this. I'm not going through the full system. Something I often do. Just use carnauba. Move this lot out of the way. Put my table down here in case anything drops off or tries to bounce off the lathe.
Or gets pulled out your hand, which is more often
That's
the case.
right. Yeah, yeah. But I will show you now because I'm in a position to do so. I do have these. They got a bit grubby over the years, but there. I just simply put one in each end, hold it like that, and buff it.
Can you pull the camera back towards you a bit, mate? Like that.
Oh yes, because you're wrong side, weren't you? Yeah. So I should be going in there like that, trying to keep them going the opposite way, right angles to where I was standing, basically. So any little grooves, scratches get taken away.
And Adam's come back and saying the bowls that he was making, I'm assuming last night, were a specific design from a client.
I think he did say how many he had to do, yes.
Right, I will get a chance to have a look later, Adam. Like I say, it's been rather manic.
I didn't hear what the wood was, actually, but it was an attractive dark brown wood.
And Colin is asking, is it easier to buff with singles or the set of three? So what he's saying is, do you put the buffing tree on, or do you use the singles? Well, I prefer to use the singles.
I was going to say singles every time for me.
Yeah, because if you're buffing up a bowl, for argument's sake, you've got room to get your knuckles round either side, or you've got room to turn the bowl. On the buffing tree, you're limited to, I think there's only about 4 inches between the wheels.
Yeah, whereas here I've got 10 inches there and about 3 feet that side.
Yeah, so
it makes a big difference.
I would buy individuals, the individual mops, rather than the buffing tree. Personal to me, because I turn bigger stuff. But you do have the option of doing small stuff on a big wheel, which you can't do when they're...
Oh, these 8-inch wheels are perfect, in my view. And it gives you a nail buff at the same time. That's nice.
And Robert said exactly the same as what we've just said. The three wheels can get in the way of your buffing bowls.
Yeah.
And apparently it's American black walnut.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that figures. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a nice looking bit of timber.
Depends on what you're buffing, Connie. If it's bowls, the three wheels can get in the way. Can explain the types of wheels and what they are made of for wood turning. Generally, Adam, the first one would be a fairly aggressive wax cum grit, and I think Emma uses Mazerna.
That's right, which is the brown one.
Which is the fairly coarse one.
That's the coarse one.
You need a separate wheel for each of the three, or however many grits you use.
Yep.
The second one is a white Diamond, is it?
like that. So I can never remember the names, but I think it is. Yes, that rings a bell. Yeah.
White diamond, and the last one is a Canuba.
Carnuba, which they're very brittle, so I end up with mine looking like that. It started off as about 4 or 5 inches long, but I'll get some more one day. But the Carnuba really does give you a lovely finish, and it's a tough finish. You can handle it. It doesn't show finger marks, and doesn't melt when you touch it, which is important. And changing the wheels over really isn't a problem. You simply hold the chuck, pull it, give it a flick, and there it is. So it's not difficult to change between them.
Right. Douglas, normally around about 16 to 2,000 revs for buffing.
1500 I recommend. Yep.
Yeah, depending on the size of the wheel. If you've got a 6-inch wheel, you can up it to 2.2. If you've got the 8-inch wheel, bring it back down to 15, 16, 1700. It's not critical, but you do tend to burn if you're not careful. And what are one from Colin? Are the buffing pads better than the round type mops? The round type mops, Colin, are more specifically for the inside of bowls.
That sort of thing.
Smaller ones for goblets. But
I'm over here now, aren't I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's the mop.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That's a mop. Got a bag full of them.
And you can they're for the inside of bowls, which you'd have problem unless it's a flattish bowl or a platter, getting the sanding wheels in or the polishing wheels in.
But they come. These come in a variety of shapes. If I just show you some of there's the 2 different sizes of cone, so I can't see the screen when I'm over here.
So hold it over the green. Yep. That's it.
You can see that. Yep. And then there's a slightly larger one of those, which is there.
You can buy all shapes, all sizes, and all different grades of cotton as well.
And there's a little diddy one, which is the same as the bigger one I was showing you, but smaller. That's another sort of ovally shaped one, which for the hollow form it might be useful, and so on. I mean, they're all similar things. Dome Buff C. Used with Carnuba. This obviously came from Chestnut. So anyway, that's a selection of mops, and I've used some of them, not many.
Yeah, Adam, the cloth, basically they are cotton.
Yeah.
Cloth mops. You can buy stitched, which is about 1/2 inch thick, and it's usually concentric circles. They stitch them together so they don't fan out like the loose one that Andy was using. They're good if you've really got to get aggressive on.
That's
something.
The fine one. Yeah, that's the finest one. The C, the Carnuba one.
And they're quite often the stitched ones they're used for metal polishing as well.
Yes, they are
because
indeed.
They're that much more aggressive. There's 3 or 4 different ones. There's many different suppliers out there.
Right. Okay. Now then, Keith, remind me. I've got 2 kits here. One is gunmetal, which is almost black, and the other is copper, which my
you're going to put the copper on the
gold.
Copper on the green, weren't you?
On the green, right? Okay, that's what I couldn't remember.
Because we thought that would stand out more than copper on the U.
My brain is addled. Doesn't take much.
And Adam's put a link in there. metalpolishing supplies.co.uk. There is another one for the mops as well. I can't remember what that one is. You can buy mops and bits and pieces. You need to try bits and pieces to see what works for you. But the Canuba is a good one to finish with on everything, and I, like Andy, I usually finish my pens off that way. Can you zoom in on that camera at all, or have we got to?
No, I can't. You've got to look at the top of my head or whatever you can see. No, I can't. Where are we? Yeah, it is a bit distant, isn't it? I did do something with it one time. Excuse me, I'll just get you dizzy. I can probably come down and fix it to the handle of that tool case. It's not as thick as the timber. Right, there we are. Now, is that any better?
Shunt it left a fraction. That's a bit better, a bit closer anyway.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer.
Yeah, we can catch what you're doing, and it looks like Brian's off to cut the grass again. Catch us all later. Cheers, Brian.
Right, cheers, Brian. Right, so anyway, yes, you get it in there, propped in place. It's spring loaded, so you've got plenty of movement, and flop it down. That's not quite there. So come up to the next hole and just squeeze it a little bit more. That's better.
Right. Douglas is asking me, but it's general. Does it matter which direction you buff with the grain across the grain? It's usually better on pens to try and buff down the grain because you will have been sanding across the grain. Although you're hoping that you take most of the grip marks out with the sanding and then also the Yorkshire grit. So you shouldn't end up with any sanding marks on them. But if you do, I would suggest you put them back on the lathe and refinish them that way rather than trying to buff them to a finish. If you've got the slightest bit of sanding mark, scratch or whatever, you can sometimes buff it out, but you're getting the wood quite hot or the plastic quite soft. So I tend not to buff overly heavily.
You shouldn't have got to that stage with marks on it. Is really what it comes down to. So,
yes.
So right, we're putting this together. If I get a bit closer, you might be able to see it. There's a line on the insert, which is the threaded bit that moves the refill in and out. And you normally would go with that line down to the material the pen's made of, but I don't trust it. So what I usually do is put it in part way like that. Pop the refill in, just making sure you're taking the wax off the end. Screw it in.
Yes, Adam.
Push it down. Let's see where it comes to. No, that's not showing at all, so that needs to go in quite a bit further.
Corian is quite nice to turn. It's hard to turn. It's brittle to turn. And that would be one of the only materials that I would probably use carbide for.
That's nearly just appearing, so a little bit deeper. It will actually go to the line, I think, this one. But it does depend on how much you cut off the end of the tubes when you were truing them up. Go down to that line and see how it goes, because I know this one is full length. There we are, perfect. That's working. Then we pop this little piece on the middle. Oh, little sleeve.
Steve Scott's escaping. Got to go back to the shed. He's been turning firewood all morning, and he's getting good at it now.
Good, that's the place to be.
Yeah. Robert Dolman's off. Stuff to do, thanks. Andy and Keith.
Okay, so I'm just going to tickle this on the sander. The brass tube is showing a little more than it should be.
Adam, no problem whatsoever. It's not a private Q&A. It's a Q&A that both Andy and I will happily answer questions on, and I will answer questions if you've got one on Messenger or Facebook or whatever. I have several people ping me a question because they're not sure exactly what they're doing, but they know what they want and how do they get to it. So we're all in it to learn together.
Love it when people ask questions.
It's much easier for us if you ask the question rather than you going to screw up a few bobs worth of wood or whatever. So yeah, it's never a problem, Adam.
Oh,
It does make it
absolutely.
useful for the whole chat then. It's not just Andy and me watching what we're doing and knowing what we're doing and just rabbiting to ourselves, basically. I know I'm good at that, but there you go. So if you wanted to try Corian, Adam, drop us a message. I've got some white and I think it's cream already cut and drilled, or I've got it in stick form at 10mm square, 10 or 12mm square. So drop us a message if you want to try it. And the same with anyone in the chat. If anyone wants to try any, you cover the postage. I can soon stick it in the post to you. You got the door open, Andy. I can hear your birds outside.
Yeah, that's right. They're singing away.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Dicey, best pen kit supplier.
Depends who you're talking to. If I'm honest,
Yes.
we all have
Yes,
different favourites.
I quite often use pen kits and bits down in Kent. Dave's a decent guy, ex-military. You can talk to him if you've got a problem. You can discuss it with him. I did have a kit that, for some unknown reason, the mechanisms didn't want to function at all. And he supplied me some better quality kits for the centre, for the mechanisms at no additional cost. And he's a decent guy to chat to. You've got Beaufort pens and inks. You've got Taylor's Murfield. There's too many to actually put a name on. You've got Axminster as well.
So I tend to use Pro kits, and you can get those from Axminster
Right.
or Amazon, or they're on sale all over the place. And they're good kits. They're basic, but they're cheaply priced, and they work. I've been using these almost exclusively since I first started, and I've never had a problem with them.
Yeah, there is no best pen kit supplier. There are some that supply better than others. Some have got slightly better after sales service. I don't know. Oh, you come back. There he is.
That's right.
And there's a question from Rob at the end. When roughing a blank, taking the corners off, is it best to have a slow lay speed, or does it depend on the size? No, the fastest you'll either go is the best speed for it.
For a pen blank,
So,
they're so small.
yeah.
I was on, was it 3,000 nearly?
Yeah,
doing
2.7,
I
I think
rightly.
you said.
2.7, yeah, which is absolutely great, no problem at all. And it gives you a much cleaner cut. You're less likely, it's because you're turning it so thin. Oh, that's what I meant to do, was to show you how thin it is. You can see if we can see that. Yeah, there we are.
Yeah,
that is very thin.
Mill and a bit there, isn't there?
Yeah, about a mil. Yeah, there's nothing much more than that. So you're turning it very thin, and you've got to cut it fast. You've got to cut it with a sharp tool, and if you're lucky, you get away with it, and we do seem to.
And if you didn't feel confident, Rob, these are Slimline kits. Go for the next one up, which is the Streamline Kit, which gives you a fatter centre band by only a couple of mil, but it is fatter, so you're not taking the wood down quite so thin.
That's
very nice,
those
mate.
Finished. I'm pleased. Well, I'll get with the right hand in a minute. It's really awkward when you're doing
Back
both
to
hands,
front.
isn't it?
I know.
Back to front. I like that gunmetal one, actually. That's quite nice.
It's quite nice on copper, on the U, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Stands out with the pips in it.
Yeah, very different from a jet black, a solid black. It's a nice colour, that.
Yeah. And
so
Douglas is asking if you're in the sauna. Close on.
I feel like it. I feel like it. It's very, very warm in here. But hey, it's worth it. So just looking down the comments. Nice.
Yeah.
Comments. Adam?
Yeah.
Adam? I'm not Adam. I think Douglas meant Andy. Oh, are you in the sort?
Dewey's shed. What about a shed toy? Nice.
Yeah,
You
I
pay
did. I
extra
did
for
one.
that, Dewey.
If you go on to my Invade, which Rich did about a couple of months ago now, it's still up. So if you go on Andy H's for turning shed invasion, it comes up. It gets listed under the list of mine, in fact, and you can see it. That I took a camera all the way around. All the way around. It takes a long time. It's very big. It's at least 8 foot wide, about 12, 15 foot long. So it's very small, but it's got an awful lot of stuff packed into it. So, and it works. It's given me somewhere to hide.
Or
To you, it
escape
may
to.
only, yeah. I was going to say to you, it may only be a shed.
Sorry, Woody
To
asked.
me, it's sanctuary.
Can't see in the chat. Favourite timbers for pens and timbers to avoid. Andy best. You can basically turn any timber.
Yeah.
Andy. The only ones to avoid are the really punky ones, the soft ones like some of the willows. The balsa is a no-no to start with. Yeah, hazel's not brilliant. There's one or two that you turn and you think that's not a good idea, but you can turn them off so you can reuse the tubes.
But if you're turning wood, you know which woods you like, and which woods give you a really nice finish, and they're the ones to go for. The close grained that shine up nicely, because a pen will look gorgeous if it's the right timber.
Copper Owl, is that Rob, is it? Or is that Dave? Whoever it is. That was great, Andy. Bye, everyone. Got to get back to work. Cheers, Rob.
Bye.
Yeah, it was a good one, Andy.
Good, thank you.
We've covered quite a bit of mileage.
Well, I tried to cover all the aspects of it. I mean, I probably haven't done it, but I tried to. And I think we've talked about most things that a beginner pen maker is going to come across. So you don't have to have all that equipment, all the fancy stuff that I've accumulated over the years. You can turn them on the lathe. I think the mandrel is probably the first thing I would go for, because it really is very, very useful. It makes life so much easier, and you know they're securely held, and you can make them the way you want them to be. But apart from that, all the rest of it is just stuff that you can have or not have, to be honest. But yes, let your imagination go riot. Well, that's your.
That's my link for Thursday.
Yep.
I was just going to see if I could find the link for your Invade.
Right. Yes, it's on there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere. Yeah.
And Douglas Mungham's being a stirrer. He's saying, Keith,
Again?
what about black palm? I have no idea, Douglas.
Yes, that turns quite nice, but you've it's a bit like turning a bunch of straws.
A bit like bamboo then.
Yeah, it's not on here, Andy.
Oh really?
Oh, it doesn't come up on mine anyway. So let's put
you keep talking. I'll have a quick look, see if I can.
Time 16. So I'm looking down Rich's channel now.
Here it is. I've got it.
Good. Stick it up then.
I should just. Where do I get? Oh, that's the top there, isn't it? Yep, that's it. I got it. Copy. And then I'll come back into StreamYard.
You can't paste. Yes, you can. I think you can paste it in StreamYard. I can't.
I should try it. If not, I should. Oh, there we are. It's gone in. Does it come up?
Hasn't come up yet. If you press go, enter.
Yeah,
that's got it. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So thanks, guys. Hopefully, I've managed to answer the question while Andy's been concentrating, and we've answered them between us.
It sounded as though you were doing a pretty full job of it, so thank you very much.
Well, there was no point in you stopping to chat when I can answer the question for you. I don't think
that's what we have earworms for, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think anyone objected to the answers that I was giving, and you had your 10 penneth in there as well, and everyone's joined in.
If I disagreed with you, I'd have said so.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, Robbo's off. Good night, Robbo. Thank you, mate.
Bye,
Hopefully
Robbo.
See you. No, I won't see you Sunday because I'm down in the museum all day, but I'll catch you later on. And I always catch up on the lives as and when I can. Great live. Thanks, Andy, Keith, Rob.
Sorry, Robbo. It was about pens, but a lot of people have been talking about it, and a couple of people actually asked for it. So I thought, well, I'll do it. I haven't done one before on pens, so that's why I'm not really apologising for it, because I think everybody has their right to have what they want. So,
and it's a good, cheap project that you don't need a Ford Transit to take them around in.
Yes,
you can put a couple in your pocket, take them to work, and flog them.
Thank you, Robbo. This is no sweat.
Yeah, I know.
But there's actually plenty of sweat, but that's another matter.
Sweat, yeah. Thanks, Flick. Thanks for popping by.
Yeah, I think everybody's going out now, so I shall press the button.
Right. So I hopefully will see a lot of you Thursday evening. That will be quite a challenge, because the blank that I've got has got a branch going right through the bottom. It is fixed, but it still make it quite a challenge, I think, to turn it.
Have your £2 coin ready? Yeah.
Oh no, don't need that. I'll stick a $5 in there and stick it down.
Oh, you flash it.
Yeah, but it won't be mine.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully I'll be back Thursday night and able to join you. I think I will be.
Oh, that's week Thursday you're talking about. I'm talking about this Thursday.
Sorry, not this Thursday. No, a week Thursday. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So this Thursday, you've got the two of us on, the terrible two.
That's right.
The gruesome twosome that several people have put in.
Yes, then I'm finished until the 27th, aren't I? That's all right then.
So we have a program worked out, but watch this space, because I don't know when Scott's going to drop back in or want to drop back in. Like I say, he's signed off until the 23rd, so I'm covering his slot this Thursday.
You're covering my slot on Tuesday and your slot on Tuesday morning. So busy.
Yes, I've got two in the same day, but that's not a major problem.
Two in the same day and one on the Thursday in the same week. So yeah.
Three in the same week. But if Wayne can do it, I'm sure I can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The evening ones might not drag on quite so much, but the lunchtime ones will go for the hour and a half, like you've done today, just an hour 33 and run in. But there's no panic. They're all watchable back, which is good. So, Colin's off.
Okay, and Colin, I hope you got what you wanted from it, if you're still here, because Colin was one of the ones who was specifically asking for it.
Right.
Adam was another one, so.
Right. Well, they both stopped till fairly late.
Yep. Good. Excellent.
Chris is saying the silver foxes.
Silver foxes. I prefer that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce and Twosome's a bit. Nah, not quite.
We answer to most things.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you usually. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much,
guys.
everybody. See you all soon. Bye.